Hi, I'm Rajesh Sahil. I run a company called Hill Road Media, which I set up a few years ago. We've done some work on mobile video and some work with YouTube. And one of our experiences has been that in India, opening of new delivery platforms don't necessarily change audience taste. So often, even on new delivery platforms, there isn't a sort of long tailing of content, or not yet. So if you see the most popular videos on YouTube, they are clips of the film serials, whether Hindi or regional. They are movie trailers, they are movie songs. So there isn't made for mobile content or made for video content. And I mean, our guess is that that's unlikely to happen in the near future. So I think what that does is that it provides a low-hanging fruit opportunity for existing broadcasters and existing content creators, but isn't enough of a stimulus for new content players to get into the business.
Just to try to answer your the monetization thing, I think it's very difficult to sell the content anyhow in India right now, because what YouTube has done is they've launched something called Box Office. Even Yahoo has done something called Movieplex, and say talking about Shemaru, Eros, Ultra, Eagle, everyone has their own channel now, and I think they're also not really serious about doing this like in a way that they can really sell it, because they're making money from different channels, so they're not partnering with, say, so ad-driven model I think is the way forward. That's the only way you can go forward. And what has happened is, if you know like what movies coming on DTH and then on like Showcase and all, then on channels very very fast. Even piracy I think is going down. So I think it's not like only piracy is the main challenge. A lot of the people actually, they want to also go in the easy direction and try to partner with Yahoo or Google and all, and try to make money on those platforms and not really try to monetize them. So ads have to be the future. I think it's very difficult right now to someone to come and really sell. Like we know that a lot of people have tried that, but it's not possible to sell the content and people download. There are a lot of people are trying to do that. I mean, I think Shemaru has a model where you can download the video, or you can say watch it. I think no one really uses that. They watch it for free on YouTube. There's a new company called Zenga who have acquired a rights for a lot of movies, and we have been talking to them for some time. They are also facing the same challenges, because the kind of movies which are available freely or not, like for which there are no issues in terms of rights and all, are the movies that people don't really want to watch. And the big movies which are like not available freely are the ones with very few players, and they really don't want to give up the rights because there are other ways that they're trying to make money off it. So I think it's like divided into these two extremes.
And you did talk about Mozart, right? So they were the ones who started out this whole cheap video CDs. So they kind of tried to, curb the piracy to a large extent by making it
playing in the same place.
Right. So they just made it available at a very affordable price that people didn't want to, pirate those movies anymore.
But they themselves realized that the economics didn't work, so actually they stopped it, because the cost of making the DVD and the number of volumes they had to sell and all, it was not really worth the business and all. So they actually acquired rights. Actually, it's also a way of growing the business. They acquired rights of a lot of movies, but because it didn't make sense for the number that they were selling to actually take it to the market, so they're actually selling very few of them. So a lot of times, if you're looking for the movies, they are with some Mozart or some other player, but they're not really giving it to the market. So I think with Times Group coming out with this box TV, maybe things will change. I don't know. There'll be some change in the market.
Well, the question is, 900 million mobile users in the country today. Almost 95% of them are prepaid users,
even more
who have less than $1 in their account. So, how do you really monetize content is going to be a big challenge by itself.
The ARPU is 62 rupees. That's going to be a challenge.
Again, in a country like India where you're talking about 900 million, niche is mass. When you're talking about even 4% of 900 million, it's mass. So, how do you really monetize that niche mass which is existing, and that is a challenge by itself, basically.
Yeah, so I think the pricing, last year we had the team from a couple of Hollywood, producers who had come down here, and we had a discussion on how do we distribute their movies on the mobile and on the PC market here in India, and the top model. So the basic expectation of the Western content producers is that per view it should generate, at least $1 of revenue, which is an unthinkable situation in an Indian environment, because like you said, the average balance is so low. Like we run a couple of services which are download based, so we see 40% failure rate in terms of the guy trying to buy and he doesn't have enough balance. So those kind of issues are huge, and micro pricing or sachet pricing is the only way that can be sorted out. Okay, but that basically means you cannot sell premium content then.
And pictures are like as low as
How much
5
do
or
you
10
sell
rupees.
Our average ticket size, as far as movies is concerned, is around 8 rupees.
Again, I think so. Sorry.
And we have tried our level best to sell full track audio downloads, and it doesn't work in India. That's 100% pirated market. So nobody buys audio track.
Do you want to grab the mic? I'm just saying
Hi, I'm Will from a company called RPP TV. Just out of interest, in the UK we have something called digital exclusion. So there's a lot of communities where people can't afford, high-end mobile bandwidth and all the rest of it. And there are some projects where they try to deliver free services, free mobile, free content, and looking at ways of getting the so-called, we call digitally excluded, which I guess is similar to the rural communities, by actually trying to set up systems and portals where they get people to sign up and then get other companies to sign up and be able to deliver these free services if people then use other ways or purchase other things through portals. So that's looking at ways of actually trying to get communities engaged and more digitally included, but try to then get them to use ways that they may shop or things that they may buy or other things that they do in their everyday life through certain portals and things like that, which then allows enough money to be generated to be able to give them kind of free things. Yeah. Might be interesting to mention.
And question out here.
In India, the scenario is a little different again, because if you talk about the VAS players, when you go to a revenue share with the operator, it's like totally reverse what's in the UK. In the UK, the VAS operator would share 80%, the VAS provider would share 80%, and the operator 20%. In India, it's just the other way around. So operators haven't really sort of worked sort of to the benefit of the VAS providers. So that's why these guys are having problem even developing their own content. And it doesn't really work out, because if you're going to keep 20% share, 80% will share for the operator and 20% comes to the VAS provider, the economics just doesn't work out. So that's another major problem. Unlike the UK, it's totally 80-20 years, 20-80.
You can't blame the operators also, because they are also squeezed in terms of, if the revenue that they're getting from a subscriber is, less than $2, how much really can they afford to, share with the VAS providers?
And I think it's also changing around lately, because the operators have been telling us over the last 1 or 2 months that you come up with a product, you, as a third-party service, you market the product, and we're willing to give you up to 70 and 80%. So, yeah, it's been over the last 3 or 4 months that 2 or 3 leading operators have actually been saying this to us, and I'm sure other VAS companies in India, that you come up with a third-party solution, you handle the marketing, we'll support you, we'll provide the connectivity to the consumers, we bring the consumers to the table, and we'll flip the revenue share around. That will happen. That definitely will happen over the next... the other operators will also come on board over the next few months to a year with that.
Currently, the standard is a little different. So.
Currently, it's different. Yeah, currently, all of us are relying on the operator to promote, to market, to send out SMS blasts or outbound dialers to the client, to the subscribers. Even though those numbers are coming down drastically because of the new TRAI guidelines, which prevent you from sending out more than what's the
100
number?
SMSs.
More than 100 SMSs or X amount per day.
Controversy that. Yeah.
I had a point to make. So India had its own version of digital inclusion. So there were 2 initiatives. One, for every person below the poverty line, central government is going to give a mobile phone. So I think that was one announcement that was widely criticized in the media as well as by the opposition party. In certain state governments, the state governments are procuring tablets, and they're going to distribute it to basically students and people who are going to the community schools and stuff like that. So these are the 2 things that I've heard in the media. I've not seen any sign yet, but it's in that direction.
I have a couple of comments. Do you want to use the mic? It's also say who you are, so that's...
Okay, Sergio from Big Bang Lab in London. I have a couple of questions about the regional languages landscape in India, how it will affect the consuming of different content, and what is the ratio between Hindi respect the other languages. But also, related to that question is, how do you see the landscape of user-generated content in the future?
Any takers?
I think you had two questions there. One is regional languages and one is UGC content. We have a service, it's called a voice chat service that has about 10.5 million registered users currently in the country. We offer the service in 14 languages around the country. The predominant languages that the service is offered in are offered in the South Indian languages. Because the subscriber base for these services is so heavy that we've offered them in Tamil, Telugu, languages that are very popular in South India. So our feeling over here is that all the services that we're going to be launching over the next year or two are going to be services that are going to be appealing to people all over the country in the various languages, in the top 8 to 10 languages that are on offer in the country currently. Just doing a service in English or Hindi, especially on a voice-based service, is not going to fly over here. Your second question in UGC content, I think that's picking up with the advent of Facebook and Twitter and all these other social networks around in the country. Again, our voice chat service is a service which is user-generated. You post your own voice clip and you look for a profile of someone else to talk to. Now, because of this opportunity of posting your own, Indians love to talk or record their voice and would like to listen and hear like-minded people also talk to them. Because of the popularity of listening to your voice and listening to someone else, which is user-generated, it's taken off very well, the service. And we think there's a huge opportunity where UGC content and UGC services will take off in the country, and operators are willing to give high revenue share for user-generated content-based services as opposed to regular content-based services.
Yeah. I think in terms of digital content, I think there are two kinds of mainstream content which is created in regional languages. One is movies and second is television. So for movies, you can say that Hindi is the largest, and it occupies close to 40% or 42% of the total content in terms of value, not in terms of number of movies. Then comes Telugu, then Tamil, then Bengali, Bhojpuri, Marathi, and some South languages. And I think they are keeping up, some more languages coming up once in a while. But in the television, I think now Hindi is close to 32%. And then there are two languages, Marathi, which is the language from Maharashtra, and Bengali, which is the language from one of the states in East India, which come around 17, 18 to 20%. That covers almost like 70%, and the other South languages then come in and bring up the rear. So I think this is the distribution of the language. And UGC, I mean, we have been hearing about it a lot. I don't know, I mean, I have not seen a lot of good quality UGC content or UGC generated out of India so far, but most of it's actually like a spoof or like a copy of some IP protected content which is coming up on YouTube or some other channels. And now some people are trying to put up like cooking channels or like some utility channels and kind of things on like with YouTube partnership and all. So maybe it will be the future, I think, somewhere.
Right. So any other points? One more point in the back there. Can we get a mic there, please?
I'm Sarang. I'm running a design studio and type foundry called White Crow Design, and we are dealing into Indian languages. So basically, what I realize is when we develop any typeface or a font for any brand or any mobile device, what we are facing is the problem is the technical support. We don't get it because every operating system or mobile device they don't consider that language support is very important when it comes to regional languages. And I think the Indian languages are really complex to develop compared to Latin. So I think one need to understand there is a standardization of implementing Indian languages, because I think all the Indian languages has got phonetics same structure, So there is an Inscript keyboard which is introduced by Indian government, and that if anybody can operate Hindi, they can easily operate Gujarati or Tamil. So the same keyboard follows all the functions and keys. So I think there should be somebody should do something in terms of technical support.
Okay. Right. If there are no other points, I think we're going to... sorry. Yeah.
I'm just adding up to this.
That, could you say who you are as well, please?
This is, I am Ganesh Ram. I'm founder of Mobile Veda. It's a company, we work on digital technologies. So this is the stage has been set. As our friend has said, the rendering Indian languages on mobile screens, that's exactly the area where we are working on. That is all Indian languages to be made available through all kinds of devices, even the basic $50 phones. So that's what we are working on, and maybe there are a few others also who are working on this similar technologies to take the content to the next level of the rural masses. So I'll be touching it upon when I make the presentation.
Okay, great, thank you. Right, so I think what we're going to do is now, our running order is what I call dynamic. So I'd quite like a suggestion. Is Andy here? Yeah. You were sitting in front of me. Sorry, Andy. Andy, I thought you might talk about music.
Sure.
Are you okay to do your presentation?
Yeah, of course.
I'll find it for you. And so you'll see we're going to be jumping around quite a bit, but I'm hoping we get some threads and cross-fertilization. And at the end of the day, I'm expecting to see people in huddles and clusters trying to stitch up deals. So, right. We're going to have the desktop. Yeah, it's on the desktop. So which one is yours? I like music. Yeah. Predictably, that's what it's called. So, but just before Andy starts, there's one interesting statistic. At the RiffStream in Cambridge, we had the chief economist of the PRS Music, which is the rights collection agency who collect all the money when people play music. And he said, his presentation was actually, basically, he said there is no long tail. They've got masses of data, there's no long tail, it's all concentrated in. And he said this is a myth that people who build models saying they're going to exploit the long tail are all living in delusion.